We'll call to order the regular meeting of the East Point Community Schools Board of Education, October 14th, 2024 at 6:32. Please call the roll.
Mr. Grunberg.
Here.
Dr. Early.
Here.
Mr. Williams here. Mr. Roscoe.
Here.
Mrs. Rayford. Here. Mrs. Richardson.
Present.
And Mrs. Grunberg.
Here.
Would all please stand for the pledge? Dan will lead us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
Place forward the motion to approve the agenda in its written form.
Support.
Please call a vote.
Mr. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Grunberg.
Yes.
Dr. Early.
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford. Mrs. Richardson.
Yes.
Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Next is consent agenda. Is there approval of or is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Support?
Please call the vote.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg.
Yes.
Dr. Early.
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford. No. Mrs. Richardson.
Yes for A, no for B.
And Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't separate. You either have to vote no on the whole consent agenda or,
No.
okay. Because that's why we group them together for one vote. Okay, next, I have a public statement that I'd like to read. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. At the request of East Point Community Schools, a law firm of Clark Hill PLC was hired to investigate accusations raised by Mr. Michael Raley, a special education teacher, against Superintendent Christina Gibson. These accusations were made during the public hearing on September 9th, 2024. Mr. Raley's claims included allegations that Superintendent Gibson had an inappropriate relationship with former athletic director, Mr. Russell Ball. 2, accusations that the Superintendent Gibson is racist, inept, corrupt, and runs the district as if it were her own personal crime family. 3, a claim that Superintendent Gibson put the district at physical risk because Mr. Ball's wife, who Mr. Raley described as mentally unstable and capable of violent actions against the district. 4, an accusation that Superintendent Gibson uses employee evaluations unfairly to discriminate against or remove people she dislikes. The district immediately launched an investigation, thoroughly reviewing emails, personnel files, text messages, and interviewing multiple staff members. The investigation has now concluded, and it found that all of Mr. Raley's accusations were unfounded and patently false. It's important to note that Mr. Raley initially refused to participate in the investigation, even though the district arranged for union representation and a substitute to cover his classes. Mr. Raley refused to attend his first interview. He was offered and did attend a second meeting, but refused to reveal any sources or provide any evidence to back up his claims. During his interview, investigators asked Mr. Raley what specific support or evidence he had related to his claims about Superintendent Gibson's affair. He answered none. When asked about the affair allegations, Mr. Raley admitted he had no personal knowledge or concrete proof and described his knowledge as hearsay, what others had told him without direct evidence. He had no emails, text, or documents to support his accusations, and he never witnessed anything himself. He had nothing. Mr. Raley stated that he never saw Mr. Ball's wife approach the school, nor witnessed anything between Superintendent Gibson or Mr. Ball directly that would suggest an affair was taking place. Instead, Mr. Raley spoke to people who spoke to other people who claimed to have witnessed Mr. Ball's wife approaching a school building. Mr. Raley also did not offer any direct evidence of racism or corruption in the district, but instead described his disappointment in Superintendent Gibson and Mr. Ball's decision to terminate him from his role as varsity basketball coach. Superintendent Gibson denied all allegations and stated she has never had a relationship outside her marriage. She also clarified that the district's employee evaluations are used to help staff improve their performance, not as a tool for personal discrimination. Mr. Ball also denied having any personal relationship with Superintendent Gibson outside of their professional roles. Finally, a different district staff member spoke with Mr. Raley shortly after he made his public comment on September 9th. The staff member spoke to the investigators and shared that Mr. Raley admitted that he was not sure whether his accusations were true. When he asked why he would raise those accusations publicly, he stated, "I don't really care." The same teacher described that she had previously spoke to Mr. Ball's wife and felt that she did not pose any safety threat to the district and did not know of anyone who had seen Mr. Ball's wife approach the school. Mr. Raley's accusations were extremely serious and, if true, could have impacted superintendent's continued employment and her career in education. However, the investigation showed that Mr. Raley was fully aware he had no evidence to support his claims and acted recklessly by making them. As such, the investigation concludes that his accusations were false and made with the intent to harm Superintendent Gibson's reputation, to inflict strife on her family, and embroil other ECS staff members in a bogus controversy. While the Board of Education values each community member's freedom, while the Board of Education encourages and values each community member's freedom of speech under the First Amendment, the board cautions against making personal, reproachful attacks against any school staff member that a subsequent investigation exposes as false and deceitful. If there are any further questions or concern, the board invites the community to address them during future public hearings. That's the statement in its entirety. Next item on the agenda is Superintendent's report. Superintendent Gibson.
Hi, good evening, Board President, board members, and those of you joining us in the audience and at home. We will continue on our campaign for excellence, serving children in our community as we look to inspire more children into the future. We'd first like to celebrate the Salute to Excellence. Last week, the board and myself had an opportunity to celebrate Karen Laddiser, Kelly Berg, social worker at Pleasant View Elementary School, Candace Chef-Shoemake, as well as Samantha Gilbert and her amazing family. And I'd like to give a shout out to Samantha and her family, who were also instrumental in homecoming decor for the homecoming dance this weekend. Giving of their own personal time to ensure that our East Point High School students had the homecoming of their dreams. Manufacturing Day, CTE students from East Point High School toured Dana Incorporated in Warren as part of the countywide Manufacturing Day. A huge thank you to high school principal Todd Yarch and to Dana Incorporated for this experience. These pictures don't do it all justice, but our students got to watch robotics in action and see what the programming looked like. It was a fantastic opportunity for them. And thank you to the Macomb ISD for their help in facilitating Manufacturing Day. We also hosted parent-teacher conferences last week. Thank you to all the families who participated in parent-teacher conferences. It was fantastic to see so many of you in attendance. I think our middle school had a record number of families come and participate in parent-teacher conferences, and our schools looked fantastic, and that partnership between school and family is critical in student success. Shamrock Spirit Day, thank you to the leadership of East Point High School. The football players and cheerleaders were provided transportation around the district last week on Friday. Football players and cheerleaders got a chance to meet students across the district in all of our elementary schools, and the students were very excited to have those high school students visiting our schools. The elementary school students then get to see what they could possibly be as they continue their journey in East Point Community Schools. So thank you to all of our athletes for taking the time out. And you can see from those side hugs with our cheerleaders that our students loved the opportunity to see big kids in their schools. East Point High School homecoming pep rally. It saddens me deeply to report the staff did not win the tug of war contest. You can see there a group of students led by our state champion, Kalia Monroe, bringing in the back can. The students were victorious in the pep rally, but it was a great opportunity for our students and our staff to have a healthy competition. Huge shout out to Paula Cardinale, a senior class advisor who helped to plan the event, and the administration of East Point High School for their hard work and for the opportunity to show some Shamrock pride. East Point High School homecoming festivities occurred on Saturday, the 12th. Thank you to those board members that were able to come out and join us at the homecoming game and to our homecoming court. Congratulations to Gina and Ray, who are pictured here, as well as our very own Dan Zander, who was recognized at our homecoming halftime as well. Again, it was a great game, not as good as I know the Shamrocks would like it to be, but we appreciated the hard work of our football team, their perseverance, and their grit in continuing to show up in the face of adversity. And sometimes that is just what it is. You just have to show up when times are hard and keep putting your best foot forward. I'd like to take a moment to thank our special education staff members. Oftentimes our special education staff are the unseen workers, our speech psychologists, speech paths, social workers, teachers, teacher consultants, and paraprofessionals. This special education staff, and speaking with the Director of Student Services, Lori Rush, she says, Christy, I don't think you understand, or that the community understands, how many amazing human beings we have working here in East Point Community Schools that could retire and choose not to, and choose to continue to show up and serve our students in amazing ways. So thank you to all of our special education staff. Pleasant View fourth graders took a field trip as part of the Nature Awaits program, which is free field trips to state parks in Michigan. Our fourth graders got a chance to go and visit Belle Isle and had a marvelous day experiencing our natural resources in the state of Michigan. Thank you to Pleasant View Elementary School for making that opportunity available to our children. East Point Middle School is undefeated. Congratulations. We may or may not have the coach in the house for something else tonight, but Coach Mack does an exceptional job with our 7th and 8th grade football team. And they beat the other undefeated team last week, which makes us undefeated now. So congratulations to East Point football, 7th and 8th graders. The team is playing fantastically. Our next game will be Tuesday at Clintondale, versus Clintondale at home at Memorial Field. Last week, iReady ELA, as those of you who follow East Point Community Schools know, we purchased new curriculum, the iReady ELA. And part of that new curriculum is also embedded professional learning that extends throughout the school year. Consultants were in the district doing learning walks, exploring the implementation of the iReady curriculum. And in those classrooms where we see the iReady being implemented very, very well, we are seeing gains in student academic progress. So thank you so much to the principals, to the instructional coaches, and to the teachers who are learning something new and implementing our new iReady ELA curriculum. We will continue to have consultant services from the program in the district and monitor the implementation. Our partnership with the University of Virginia will continue in our Partners for Leadership Education. PLE will be here in district on October 21st and 22nd, meeting with central office, coaching principals on their 90-day plans, and helping us to continue to improve the systems that support schools for deep learning for children. And now I'd like to welcome up to the front Edwin McDonald. Edwin is employed by East Point Community Schools through RICO Security. And last week, Edwin McDonald was part of the security team that has incorporated a new method of searching and securing students when they come in. Students asked us in the spring to please increase the security and safety at our high school campus. And Edwin McDonald is the lead of our security team through RICO. And Edwin is responsible for ensuring the safety of all of the students and the staff of the high school campus and stopped a weapon from coming into our school last week. So I hope that you will all please join me in a standing ovation for Mr. Edwin McDonough. Edwin, this certificate is a small appreciation of you and the services that you provide. Thank you so much for keeping us all safe and for coaching in a fantastic football team. We are also grateful to Rico Security for their time in helping Edwin to have a full security team. So Edwin, you want to come stand right here in front of the podium after you're done shaking everybody's hand. And those of you that don't know Coach Mack, if you would come stand right up here in the front, Edwin, right here. We'll let Principal Yarch take a nice picture, and if the board will all scooch in behind Edwin. Joe Rico Bono's on the picture. So if the board would all come in, that would be great. Scooch it as much as you can. Don't stand in the chair. Great. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Glenn. Upcoming events, October 25th is the end of first quarter. It is a half day for students. November 5th is Election Day. I'd like to encourage everybody to please make sure that you're looking. The CNG paper last week, October 9th, put out a great election update so that you can look at the candidates. The League of Women Voters also does a fantastic job of vetting candidates and publicizing information about candidates. I encourage all of you to exercise your right to vote on November 5th. We will not have school for students on November 5th. Instead, the district will be doing training. In the morning, we will have building-specific training, but then in the afternoon, we will be having a full afternoon session with Dr. Jay Marks at our Macomb Intermediate School District. Next up to the podium, I would like to welcome Principal Julie Piper for a Bellevue Elementary School update. Welcome, Principal Piper.
Hello. Is it already on? Yay, okay. Hello, I'm Julie Piper. I am the principal at Bellevue Elementary. So it's October 14th, first board meeting for me to present this year. Yay. So we're going to start with some student celebrations, some things that we've always done, but doing a little bit differently now. We say the morning pledges with our announcements, and we do staff and student birthdays, and we have students that lead those pledges every morning. They are there waiting for me in the office at 8:05 when the second bell rings. We had back to school night. We had 176 people in attendance for our back to school night. We gave away lots of free items. We had socks, we had gloves, we had scarves and hats that had been provided to us from the high school, but after winter had already passed last year. We gave away backpacks and books. We have lots of books. We're still giving away books. We had our very first PBIS Rewards Store of the Year last Monday. Due to some differences in our building, that store is now on a mobile cart, and so it goes classroom to classroom. We had high school volunteers that helped students make their purchases. It actually went more smoothly and quickly with it being on the mobile cart and students going through it. So we got positive feedback from the teachers, the students, and our high school volunteers who had been with us previously. We had our first monthly assembly, and we celebrated our star students, our character traits. We had 28 students who had perfect attendance for the month of September. That is, they were there on time every day. They did not leave early. They did not come late. Perfect attendance at Bellevue is perfect attendance, a full day of attendance. So 28 students, not bad for the first month of school. We had a t-shirt design contest, and you're going to see that t-shirt that was created as an idea from a couple of students. And so we also announced our winners at that assembly. And then our third graders were our first field trip of the year. They went to Tollgate Farms, which is an extension of MSU, I believe. That was the first time that we've been. I asked one of the teachers when they got back, would you go again? She said 100%. Our parents were exhausted when they got back. So we are so happy to have parent volunteers, but it was more than they had thought that they had signed up for. So we're hoping that they go on our next field trip with us too. So the first picture here are our two winners that designed the T-shirt. You can kind of see the T-shirt in the back. So we took their two ideas. The T-shirt guy is great. He put their two ideas together and created a T-shirt. We are now selling these shirts to our staff and students through a web store like the district does. So we're excited to see how many students purchase those. And then the center picture is part of the Shamrock Spirit extension from the high school on Friday. All of the feedback that I heard from the principals across the district, that was excited. We want to do that again. And our assembly later in the day, we got to see how many kiddos dressed up in all of their green together. And then that last picture is the picture of our students that got certificates in the first assembly. And the people standing around them are their adults, because their adults are the reason that they're able to get those certificates, because of the support of their families. Some big things that we're working on through our 90-day plan. We are focusing on Domain 2, creating a culture and climate that is safe and positive for our students, and managing classroom expectations. And Domain 3, implementing the new curriculum, which the district has so graciously purchased for us. So this is just a photo of one of my 5th grade teachers on the first day of school, going over some expectations with her class. And then this is some students using some of their new iReady math curriculum. We're focusing on instructional learning cycles for all teachers. That was one of our big takeaways from our time in Virginia this summer, is not just our full-time classroom teachers, but working with our self-contained resource teachers, in addition to our resource teachers and our classroom teachers. Of course, with new curriculum, it's a learning curve for everyone. So we are working with continuing professional learning with the reading and the math. And as we get new staff in, it's important that they are familiar with it as well. And then walkthroughs and feedback conversations consistently daily, and small group instruction to meet our students' learning needs. That first picture is professional learning for our staff. So that was some of our very first iReady reading professional learning. I see smiles. It was exciting. We were learning some new things. It was a lot, but it was good. The middle picture is one of our teachers working with the students in their math. She's got them close to her. She can see what's going on. And then the third picture is students up and moving. They were doing, it was a rap. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it is now. May have been a multiplication rap, but she had them up and moving, and because we know that when we move things in our brain, and it sticks. So that was what that was. Go back one. In addition to our 90-day plan, we do have all of our classroom teacher positions have been filled, and they have been filled at Bellevue since the first day of school. That is very exciting, because this is year 5.5, I think, and this is the first year in 5 years that I've had a classroom teacher in every class on the first day of school. We also have a teacher for gym, music, STEM, and art. Again, Haven't had that at the start of the year in a while. We have instructional paraprofessionals working with our students. Our teachers are modeling learning for our students, not only the academic, but the behavioral and social emotional expectations. Our lunch and recess supervisors are interacting with students during play and sitting down and talking with them at lunch. And that really applies to our Domain 2. We're meeting and greeting students as they get off the bus, when they walk in the door, when they walk in the lunchroom, when they go into their classroom, in the hallway, just making sure that there's a connection made with every student multiple times before the school day begins. And that's some happenings in gym class there. And then we have teachers use, that's our iReady reading curriculum. That is an example of what the students have in their book and the teachers going through it. That picture is actually Ms. Cram, who is here to support me tonight, interacting with students at lunch, during lunch. And then we have one of our building substitutes working with some students during some independent work time. Some family engagement events. We had our back to school night. We have our awards assemblies. We have those monthly. We had parent volunteers. So that is the picture of our third graders with their adults lined up, getting ready to get on the bus for their field trip last week. We had somewhere between 12 and 15 adults that not only volunteered, but were able to attend, because they can't attend all of them because of work schedules and things like that. Parent-teacher conferences, as of today, we are at 81% of either parents attended in person or phone calls or Zoom. We're finishing up that tomorrow. We're going to see how close to 100% we can get. We're having tomorrow night, we're having our first annual Harvest Festival at Bellevue Elementary. If you're available, please come out. 5 o'clock to 6:30. It's going to be cold. And it is an outdoor event. So dress for that. And then we're going to have our 4th annual Family Memorial Celebration of Life Walk in May of 2025, the Friday before Memorial Day. We have our monthly family meetings, and then what our teachers have started doing is there are letters that go with the iReady units to help parents know what their children are learning, and the curriculum already has that there, and so the teachers are sending that home in a dojo message. I've had several teachers that have really gotten positive feedback back from parents regarding being able to see that so that they know what their students are learning in class. And that Ms. Gibson used my picture from parent conferences. And then the middle picture is some back to school nights. You can see some of the girls with their stuffed backpacks with all of the good things that they got. And then in the hallways, parents were picking things out. And then another picture from parent conferences. It's a family affair. As you can see, we've got the little one in the carrier there. These are the next 2 slides. This is going to be our beginning of the year reading data for iReady, which is our new reading curriculum. It's a great visual because you can see in the green where we have our students that are at or above grade level. The yellow, those are students that are 1 grade level below, and then 2 grade levels or 3 or more grade levels below. We are a 3 through 5 building. So some of these students in 5th grade could be working on a kinder or 1st grade level, and it shows us that. What's great about these particular data bar graphs is at the end of the year, we can see how much progress we've really made, and we noticed that with our math last year. And so that lets us know we have a lot of work to do and a lot of area for growth. And so we get excited at the middle of the year and the end of the year when we can actually see that visual of growth. Because when we're in it every day, we don't notice it as much as when we can see something like this. So this is our reading data, and then this is our math data. As you can see, we don't have any students that are at or above grade level. We have 4 students that are at the beginning of grade level, and then we have a large number of students where we need to work on in our math to get them to the next grade and the next grade level working. So our BTN met at the beginning of the year. Our BTN is our leadership committee, met at the beginning of the year to revise our vision and mission statement. We wanted to make sure that our vision and mission statement were aligned with the districts and with the strategic plan. And so this is the vision and mission that we are working on at Bellevue right now. Some areas that we are going to continue to work on is increasing our family community engagement and education opportunities for our families and community. It doesn't have to be our families. We have 2 vacant academic paraprofessional positions that we would like to get filled. We want to increase our iReady reading and math, the number of students that are at or above grade level, and we want to increase the number of students that are achieving proficient or advanced on M-STEP. Some upcoming events, of course, tomorrow night we have our Harvest Festival. We are going to have a first ever Veterans Day program on Veterans Day. Still looking for speaker. Hint, hint. We will have our 4th annual Memorial Walk in May, where we'll have a math game night, a STEM activity night, and a literacy night. Some of our upcoming field trips are all grade levels can go to the DIA. You know, that's fully funded through the county, so we don't have to pay for those or the buses, so that's nice. The Greenfield Village, our 5th grade goes because that aligns with their curriculum. Multiple grade levels can go to the Henry Ford because there's lots to do there that relates to the curriculum. Last year, our 5th grade went to I think it's the Wright Brothers African American Museum in Detroit. It was great, and they will take them back again this year. And then a whole school field trip is planned to the Outdoor Science Center in the spring.
Thank you so much, Principal Piper, for the presentation this evening. Does any member of the Board of Education have any questions for Principal Piper about what's happening at Bellevue?
What did you say again about Veterans Program?
We have not had a Veterans Day program in the time that I've been at Bellevue. So we are looking for, veterans to come speak to our students. I know.
That's why there was a long pause, Board President.
I know.
Sure they don't mind.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Riola Hammond, longtime resident of East Point, and as bad as sinus problems tonight, so hopefully I won't lose my voice. But there was something that was truly disturbing to me today when I read the article in the Macomb Daily about the 4th lawsuit. I just found that so disheartening. And my concern is, just as whoever this teacher you guys were talking about, or coach or whomever, how he was investigated. My question is, the board as a whole, have you all done your fiduciary responsibilities and investigated? So that's, if not, that's being ineffective, because those kind of allegations, those lawsuits, they affect community morale, administrative morale, teacher morale. And that, therefore, will roll down to the students. And if you've yet to do it, you're ineffective. And if you're going to be ineffective, you shouldn't be sitting in those seats, because your duties and responsibility are to the school district and the students. That's all I have to say.
Hi, Cindy Federley, longtime resident. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. McDonald for his incredible job. I do want to ask, though, I read an article that Lakeview High School has a dog that sniffs out vape pens and drugs in the school, and I wonder if any company has trained dogs to sniff for weapons or fire, bullets or gunpowder or whatever, if that would be a possibility, because it seems like we're rolling the dice when we're just trusting that a person can look at a body and see that there's a gun there. I mean, there are many ways to hide a weapon, and that student apparently didn't take the time to make sure there was no bulge. So anyway, I wonder if that could be investigated, if perhaps this company that provides the dogs to Lakeview has dogs that sniff for that. Now, at the last Board of Education meeting on September 23rd, I spoke about the comments made by Coach Riley and stated that the board should have an independent source investigate his accusations. Having the law firm Clark Hill investigate the accusations appears to me to be a conflict of interest since they represent the district. Even though Clark Hill stated the accusations were unfounded, how can we, the employees, residents, and taxpayers trust an employee of the district to be open and honest with another employee of the district that can impact their job? There is attorney-client privilege, but when an employee is being interviewed by the district law firm, where does the loyalty fall? It seems the law firm will do their best to protect their client, which is the district. This is exactly why you need to hire an independent source. A source employees can feel safe and trust their comments are held in confidence. I also want to point out that Mr. Riley's accusations are documented in his court filing. People can look it up. I urge the elected school board members to rediscover their integrity and do the right thing. Hire an independent investigator, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Latika Foster. I'm a longtime resident of East Point. My daughter and niece both go to Pleasant View Elementary, and I just wanted to say that Ms. Trice has done a wonderful job in the 3 years that my daughter's been going there. She's helped my niece a lot when she was struggling, and I think she's an amazing principal. And my children would like to speak as well. Speak. They don't have all day.
I like my principal. Yeah. She's a good principal and she helps you with your math.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else wish to be heard? Seeing none, hearing public is closed at 7:09. Next item is Human Resources, instruction of new hires. Is there a motion to approve the instruction of new hires as listed?
I make a motion, we accept the list of new hires as presented.
Support.
So prior to calling the vote, Ms. Alspaugh, would you like to introduce some new hires that have joined us here? You can stay in your seat.
I never know because I can't make eye contact with all of you. So Ms. Rachel Klein is in the back here. She is a paraprofessional, and she is joining our staff, our team at Crescentwood, and we're very thankful to have her. And we also have Mr. Ron Smith here that we'll deal with in our next item. I have a little bit to say about him. So it's with great enthusiasm that I recommend Mr. Ronald Smith for the position of Coordinator of Facilities Management and Technology. Ron has been a valued member of East Point community for 16 years. He began his career as a literacy and media paraprofessional when his interventions improved students' reading skills. Since 2016, Ron has served as a third-party employee in operations and technology, where his role in daily maintenance and critical issues excels. In addition, he contributes to our community with his outreach efforts through involvement with the Gleaners Food Distribution. This role will allow Ron's continued growth within our organization. His skills and dedication are both a benefit to operations and technology. When asked, the leadership of technology and operations said that Ron is very attentive. He has a can-do attitude and never say that I can't, but he will always try.
You're welcome.
Please call the
All
vote.
right. Mrs. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford,
No.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Okay, and then is there a motion to approve the non-instructional new hire?
I make a motion that we support Ron Smith for the non-instructional new hire position.
Support.
Please call the vote.
Mrs. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Okay, next we have Board of Education Student Discipline Hearing. That's closed, right?
The family has requested that the board hear the student discipline hearing in closed session for FERPA.
Okay, so is there a motion to go into closed session?
I make a motion, we go into closed session for student discipline hearing.
support.
Please call the vote.
Mrs. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
and Mrs. Richardson.
Yes.
So at this time, we do not have an alternate space to have the closed sessions. We will be excusing the audience. There will be no more formal action at the conclusion other than the adjournment, but the audience will have to exit the boardroom. We will close the doors to go into closed session. And then we will come back out to take the vote on action afterwards, and then invite the audience back in. Thank you so much.